Good evening. Tonight I'm bringing you some, some Rolling Thunder. And this is not a rock group, but I'm going to just kind of read my notes here so I don't screw this thing up for you guys. Tonight, the members of the Massachusetts chapter of Rolling Thunder are our guests. And I guess if we go from right, as I'm looking at you folks, right to left, we have Debbie Shields, and you're the secretary.
Yes.
And Brian, with an I, LeBlanc, is the president.
Yes, sir.
And Sean, that's S-E-A-N, is it Byrne, is how you say it, right?
That's
Byrne
correct, yes, sir.
is the vice president. And on the end here is Frank Murphy, who is on the board of directors. So I'm just going to give a little blurb about what Rolling Thunder is, and then we'll go directly to our guests. Rolling Thunder is an advocacy group that seeks to bring full accountability for our prisoners of war and those missing in action. Their motto is, "We will never forget." So with that, Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
do you want to give us kind of an overall view of Rolling Thunder, and then we can go into some specifics, but I'll let you give an overall. And if anybody else wants to jump in, when he's done, just jump in.
Sure. Rolling Thunder is an organization that's been around for approximately 34 years,
That one.
1988. It started when a few Vietnam veterans knew that we still had POWs and MIAs still missing from the Vietnam War, documented that they were still alive and missing in action as prisoners of war. So they tried to get together, reach out to a few of their friends and said, let's storm the Capitol. Let's let the Capitol, let our government know to bring our veterans home, to bring our boys and women home where they belong. So when he reached out, 2,000 bikers said, we'll go with you. And when they stormed the Capitol on this Memorial Day to practice their First Amendment, people around the surrounding areas said it sounds like Rolling Thunder, literally Rolling Thunder. And it was also a military operation, Rolling Thunder. And that's how the name Rolling Thunder started. Since then, that was in '88. Since then, it's grown to 88 chapters nationwide. And it's a 501c3 and a 501c4 organization, 100% nonprofit. And we're committed to helping veterans of all wars and helping educate the public about the POW MIA issues.
Unfortunately, I guess you don't have the national get-together anymore, and I think you mentioned to me about costs, and so maybe you could talk a little bit about why that has ended and what you do now more locally.
Sure. The Memorial Day demonstration, it wasn't a bike run, it was a demonstration, had to end in 2019. The higher-ups of Rolling Thunder that are located in New Jersey, Rolling Thunder National, decided it was time to stop doing it. The reason was because up until 11 years before that, we would police our own parking lot, do our own security. And then after that, the Pentagon said, we want a piece of the pie. The government says we want a piece of the pie. So Rolling Thunder had to come up with paying for permits, paying for details, paying for parking, because we all assembled in the north the north parking lot of the Pentagon. And that one day, that one demonstration ended up costing Rolling Thunder over $220,000 for that one day.
Wow.
And so they came together and said, you know what, we could take that $220,000 and put it towards a lot better instead of padding somebody's pockets. We could be putting food on a veteran's table. We could be putting oil in a veteran's heating tank. So what we've done is we tried to take it nationwide. So now it's called Rolling Thunder Nationwide. So on the same day, the Sunday of Memorial Day, we're going throughout the country and doing our own demonstration rides. And what we're doing here in New England is we're starting at Plain Ridge Casino, and we're heading down to Bicentennial Park in Fall River, where the new permanent replica of the Vietnam Wall is. So that's where we're going to be doing it this year.
Nice, nice. Debbie, I understand you're a vet.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your service. As a vet, I have a question for you. In your group, if people wanted to join your group, do they have to be veterans?
No, sir, they don't. They
don't.
just have to care. We have children, young children. We have vets, we have non-vets, we have motorcycle riders, we have non-motorcycle riders. So they just need to care about the mission and want to help. Like Brian said, you know, we help veterans from all American wars. They just need to care, and they just need to be there to help with whatever it is that's needed.
And so therefore, it's not necessarily, because some people would probably think, because we talked to the motorcycles, they might think out there that it's a motorcycle club.
No,
But Sean, that's not so, right? I mean, it's not a motorcycle club per se, it's just,
We're an organization of motorcycle riders,
okay, yeah,
um,
okay.
all obviously
Well
coming,
put, yeah.
coming together to bring awareness to the POW MIA issue.
Yeah.
And like Debbie just said, you don't have to ride a motorcycle. If you've got a big wheel,
Yeah.
come on down.
Yeah.
You know, it's about getting the word out there and trying to help veterans.
And Frank, you had a description of people that would be at your meets and so forth, but they would be driving cars. But you had a term for that.
Well, the motorcycle riders, you know, we call people that come up in cars cages.
Come up in cages.
Yeah.
That's kind of
You know,
unique.
well, we don't care what you drive, motorcycle, or like he said, big wheel, you know, a Raleigh, a car, as long as your mind and heart's into the mission,
Yeah.
you're welcome aboard.
Yeah.
You know,
So Frank, how long have they been doing, you guys have been doing the thing in Fall River? It sounds pretty interesting.
oh God.
So yes.
This will be the
this will be
second.
the second
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, that, for this ride, but we used to have an annual run to go up to Worcester to the Vietnam veteran, that's the Massachusetts War.
You still do that?
No, that stopped a couple of years ago
Yeah.
because of these other runs that are coming on.
So all the chapters, like around the country, would be doing something similar, like your guys are gonna do it down in Battleship Cove?
Correct, yeah,
Pretty much, yeah.
yeah. See, what Brian was talking about earlier too, Ed, was that got so big in Washington, and one year, they were just shy of 1 million bikes.
Yeah.
Truth.
I saw a thing online that I guess not more recent, but at one time, I think they said it, if I can remember, 2008 there was like 300,000 people of bikes or whatever, and then several years later it was like 500,000, and then I guess it just kept increasing, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing that you have in Fall River is, again, is that something that's open to the public? What happens on that day when you start at Plain Ridge, but you drive down, and when you get there, are there different events? Are there, what happens then?
Sure. We do start in Plain Ridge. Registration starts at 9 o'clock at Plain Ridge Casino, and it is open to the public. We ask for a donation to help fund whatever we need to do. And after that, we go from Plain Ridge on an escorted ride down to Fall River into Battleship Cove, Bicentennial Park, where there's a bunch of national memorials there. From there, there's a small parade, and there is a ceremony there. We're going to have a wreath-laying ceremony, guest speakers, and talks about, there'll be other people to talk to about if a veteran is in need, what you need to, where to go. Memorial Day, just like down in DC, it's a big fellowship, like a central artery, like the camaraderie comes together where we're all on the same page. So if there's a vet that needs something, go talk to Brian at Rolling Thunder, or go talk to Sean or Debbie at Rolling Thunder. Maybe they can help you out. And if we can't help you out, we'll try to point you in the right direction.
Yeah. So do you guys have the occasion to work with like local towns, veterans agents and stuff like that? Because basically most towns, including here in Stoughton, we do have a veterans agent. And do you come in contact? Do you work with these folks too?
So the VSOs of the towns, I'm thinking you're probably talking about?
Yeah.
So the VSOs, we don't, let me step back. Do we work with them? Yes. Are we on a first name basis? With some. There's over 300 towns in Massachusetts.
yeah.
So with some of them. I am talking back and forth a little bit with the veterans agent, the VSO in Fall River, and we're close with VSOs throughout the area that we're part of. So do we work with them? Yeah. Like we were talking earlier, if somebody wanted to do something, an event in their town, you know, maybe where Debbie lives. Debbie, could you reach out to the VSO and find out if we can do it? You know, so on and so forth. Frank, can you get a hold of the Canton VSO? But yeah, do we work with them? We do.
No, VSO is
Veteran Service Officer.
officer, okay. Just so everybody out there would.
Oh,
would
sorry.
think when- Well, no, probably everybody else knows, but I wasn't sure what the O meant, so,
Okay.
yeah. So, what would have been a typical day that when you were going down to DC, where you started, where you ended? Did you ride around certain areas? You mentioned about ending up, I think, at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. But what would be a typical day? How would it start? Would you start there? Or?
I'll let you take that one.
So the day usually starts at about 4 o'clock in the morning. We go out, we start lining up the bikes. If you have a job to do there, which we usually lined up the bikes in the section that we were in. Once those were done, we could go back to our hotel, rest for a little while. What time we usually kicked off?
Noon.
Noon time we kick off. So you'd have to be back to your bike by noon. Once it kicks off, you roll out, you ride down through DC, past the Lincoln Memorial, down Constitution Avenue, and probably one of the most patriotic and beautiful things you'll ever see is going down Constitution Ave with
Tim Shea.
Constitution Ave, excuse me, with everybody standing on the side waving American flags. It's beautiful. You'll make your way around past the Capitol. You'll come back up through where all the museums are on the backside. You wind up in the park. That's where everybody kind of gets off their bikes, gets together around the wall, and other events take place from there. But basically, that's it. The ride might last, what's it last? Maybe 15 minutes?
4 miles.
Yeah, it lasts about 15, 20 minutes. You're there all day long in the parking lot, usually cooking under the sun. But it was well worth it. I've done it 4 times, and it was worth every single time.
Sounds really fantastic. Excuse me, Frank, you had mentioned to me that one time you actually had to help a lady up.
Yeah, a Gold Star Mother. That was in Worcester.
Oh, what's the?
Yeah. I alluded to you, if that is an absolutely gorgeous monument. And, you know, if you ever go up into that park, they have the pillars coming up out of a pond, and they have actual letters that were written by the sons or daughters to the parents, but they just didn't make it home, you know.
Yeah, that's Green Hill Park.
Green Hill Park,
Green Hill
yeah, in
Park.
That's in
Worcester.
Worcester.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and, you know, like John was saying, they fill up every parking lot in the Pentagon, Arlington National Cemetery, and that bikes will come out for hours and hours and hours,
Oh, yeah.
coming, you know, I mean for hours.
We've had lunch. We've gone and had dinner, actually. Come back, and there's still bikes going through.
Wow.
That's how many there are.
Yeah.
Frank, you were telling me something interesting the other day. Incidentally, Frank and I have had coffee several times at at Beantown down
Yeah.
the road here. And you told me also one time about how the 21 gun salute came about. That was quite
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, as far as I could figure out, a lot of people don't know where it derived from. And in my own mind, and talking to other people, and like my dad, and you know, the World War II vet, if you took 1776 Revolutionary, 1 and 7 is 8, 8 and 7 is 15, 6 is 21. Everything is 21. You get the 21 gun salute. Speaking of Washington, if you go to the unknown soldier's grave, when the guards that they take 21 steps, turn around in 21 seconds. Everything is in cadence.
Oh, okay.
It's just awesome to watch, you know. But I never really got a verified answer where it came from. So I'm sticking with that.
Great story.
sounds-
Frank.
It sounds,
Stick to it, brother.
Seventh, yeah.
That's a good one.
it sounds good. I mean, you know, it
Yeah.
seems that all that stuff clicks.
Yeah.
But Debbie, as a lady that's in this group, an organization, what do you think of what you folks are doing?
Oh, I think
In a perspective.
I
your
think it's
perspective.
great. You know, we need to hold the government accountable. We can't forget, we
Can you
still,
speak just a little bit louder? I don't know if it's good.
we can't hold, we have to hold the government accountable. We can't forget that we do still have remains in Vietnam, in Germany, from all wars. We still have remains out there. We need them back if they have not already been properly buried. There's families out here, there's families here that they don't have closure because they don't know what happened to their loved one.
Yeah.
So our main job is to keep the government accountable and to stay on them to get these remains back so that these families can have closure and they can finally be at peace.
I believe there's at least one soldier that whose remains were found well after the war ended, and the name escapes me, and I don't want to try and make it get it wrong, but I believe there was at least one serviceman that was missing, and they actually, a group of people, I guess from Stoughton or in the area, went over and they were able to find remains in the areas where they were, you know, battling and so forth.
Which
So-
war?
Excuse me?
Which war?
Vietnam.
Vietnam.
Yeah. And so it's hard to believe that after all, you know, it's been so long that there's still a need. But like your thing says, never forget, because, you know.
Can I stem upon what Debbie said too?
Sure, definitely.
Is the good thing with today's science and technology, with DNA tracing, it doesn't take a lot to identify remains.
Wow.
Just about 2 or 3 years ago, when President Trump went over and talked with Kim Jong-un, President Trump came back with 55 jars of remains. And within those 55 jars of remains, they identified 210 different strands of DNA.
Wow.
Not necessarily meaning they were American DNA strands, but nonetheless, they were DNA strands. One of those gentlemen actually came home to Brighton, Massachusetts, I believe in October. Rolling Thunder had gone over to the airport and escorted that gentleman's remains back to Brighton with the family.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's the good thing about technology today is that with DNA sampling and testing is that it's easier to identify soldiers coming back home from the war.
And he was from the Korean War, correct?
He was Korean, yes.
Yeah.
Does the government have any idea how many people, I mean, I would think they should, but do they have any idea how many people are still missing?
Yeah, well, the DOD keeps a record of that.
They do.
And if I am correct, I want to say it's in the area, don't quote me, about 81,000 missing American men and women
Of course. Yeah.
since World War I.
Yeah. That's something.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw a thing, I think it was on the news today, some gentleman, I forget where he was from, I think on the North Shore, and he was going around with a metal detector. And I guess he found a pistol that dated back to the Civil War. So I was like, what? You know, and I guess he does a lot of this. He even said, he said, I have my own little museum. He said, they got a buckle from this war and all this other stuff. So even in our own country, there's stuff
Sure.
still remaining underground, yeah.
And if I may, like when I first got into the chapter, all the jerseys and everything I got, we had a 39 on our sleeves, or, you know, on your breast. And that, just from Massachusetts alone, there was 39.
There still
And we
is.
used to have a thing called the stand down in Dorchester, and had the POW flags, MIA POW, and we had their names put on it. And kind of a pegboard type of a thing. We would honor them by calling out their name and putting that particular flag into, you know. But you know, like Brian said, with technology getting better,
Yeah.
I think they've recovered a couple, you know. But, you know, like the way everybody's talking is you can go and see your parents and kneel down in front of a stone. They can't.
Yeah.
They
yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
There's nothing to go to. How do you get closure? You know?
Yeah, I think our town, Stoughton, I think, does a lot of things for veterans, and on Memorial Day, at least our past, he hasn't passed, but our past veterans agent, Mike Pizzara, he would get a group of people, I think Boy Scouts and other people, and they would go around to all the graves in the town, you know, dating back to whenever. So, again, it's the same idea that you're remembering, and then it's good too, because for the younger people, it puts that into their brain that, you know, how far back some of the stuff goes. Because a lot of stuff isn't taught in school anymore, so it's good.
We do very similar.
Yeah, I
You
think
know,
a lot of
you know,
towns do.
we'll put flags on
Yeah.
cemetery stones,
Yeah,
lay wreaths down
Yeah.
on the National
Yeah.
Cemetery down in Bourne,
yeah,
you know, and anything to
yeah.
help out the veterans, their families. And
Over in Easton, basically the next town over, they have a nice, it's kind of small, but it's a very nice memorial just outside their center, and with the bricks, and they got columns, you know, and they have it for the various wards. It's small and compact, but it's pretty neat to see that. Posting of the bikes. What's that all about?
What's the blessing of the bikes? Kind of self-explanatory. Blessing of the Bikes is an event that we have annually. It's our biggest fundraiser. Because we are a nonprofit organization, we rely solely on donations and fundraising events. So what is the Blessing of the Bikes? At the Gardens at Gethsemane in West Roxbury, Massachusetts, which is owned by a good friend of ours, Alan McKinnon. He's nice enough to let us use an area of his cemetery to have our Blessing of the Bikes. What it is, it's a nice way to kick off the riding season. We have this is where my lack of
Minister.
church things go. Minister?
Minister.
We have a minister with some leaves. What do they call? Bay leaves? Tea leaves?
Palm.
Some kind of leaves.
Some kind
Dip
of
them in
leaves.
holy water and bless the bikes. And it's a way to fellowship and get together again.
Yeah.
But it's a kickoff of the season. We have breakfast. We have a couple of raffles there. And it's a beautiful morning in the area of this Gardens at Gethsemane where he has a veterans burial area. So
Where's
that's-
that located?
The Gardens at Gethsemane is on
Baker Street.
Street in West Roxbury, Massachusetts. And our blessing fundraiser this year is April 23rd at 9 a.m.
We also have a memorial there that he was kind enough to let us put. So there's a marble bench, and then we have a granite bench and a granite stone that has our, it says, you know, Rolling Thunder Mass Chapter 1, but it's to never forget. You know, so he was kind enough years ago to let us put that memorial there, and that's right across from where the majority of veterans are buried.
And again, is this an event that anybody can go to and observe or watch, or
It's
you
open
said
to the
raffles
public.
and all that stuff? So
Absolutely.
anybody can
Open to the
show.
public. And as Frank would eloquently put it, cages are welcome. So
Yeah.
anybody that wants to come and hang out with us for the morning, come out, have breakfast with us. We ask a small donation to come over and hang out with us. But yeah, cages are welcome, so people don't ride, but you want to come over, maybe see the bikes, take pictures of the bikes. And it's actually turned into a pretty good day for us as a chapter and with other chapters throughout, let's say, within a 400-mile range.
Wow.
So like I said earlier, Rolling Thunder has 88 chapters nationwide. At last year's Bike Blessing, we had 11 other chapters from the area come in. So we had all the chapters from New England. We had a gentleman from Maryland come up for our Bike Blessing. We had a bunch of people from Staten Island come up for our Bike Blessing. A couple people from New Jersey came up. So it's a good day for everybody to come together and hang out with us. We have a lot of fun that day.
Sounds
Yeah,
like
not just Rolling Thunder, Ed, it could be anybody, you know,
Yeah.
if you solely have a bike by yourself, you get in line. You wanna feel, you know, get your bike blessed.
sounds like quite a community event,
It's a
really.
great
It
way to
is.
start the season.
It is.
It makes you, I'm not a religious person either, but it makes me feel good when they bless my bike and I know it's gonna be a good riding season.
Nice.
And it is child-friendly.
Child friendly.
It is kid-friendly.
That's good to hear too.
You know, and one other thing I wanna put my 2 cents in with too, because Debbie mentioned we put a bench in there. And answer to your question is, it's off the VFW Parkway, the Gardens of Gethsemane in West Roxbury.
Yeah.
But we also put chairs in different town halls and stuff. You know, if you know, people request it,
Yeah,
we will gladly assist in anything
Yeah.
like that.
We'll definitely talk about that, and
Yeah.
maybe later in the season have another
Yeah.
show
Yeah,
to
I just
Talk
wanted
about
to
it.
mention it.
yeah, no,
know.
I think that is a great thing you do, and I'm going to be working with these guys and, you know, some of the people at Town Hall and so forth to see if we can do this cheer thing, which we can describe in detail later, to Stoughton. I think it'd be a fantastic thing. I think if we did it like on a weekend, I'll bet you would have a heck of a turnout here in town
Yeah.
to see something like that. But that would be down the road, but hopefully that'll happen. I think it'd be great.
Well, we don't just do town halls. We've done schools, we've done restaurants, we've done all the stadiums, Gillette Stadium, Fenway Park,
Gillette, wow.
TD Garden.
Yeah.
We have a chair in every, we've also did one up in Lowell for the Lowell Spinners. So we do stadium chairs. Braintree High School has a chair at their stadium. They also have one at their town hall. But, so we will do it anywhere. We
Yeah.
will put the chair in anywhere that's requested, or dedicate the chair.
Yeah, so looks like I would have to do a little homework, but I'm sure it would be readily accepted by most of the people in the town. It just would be how to get it done. That's something we can work on. I found it kind of strange that this man owns the cemetery. I didn't know people own cemeteries.
Alan does.
Excuse me?
Alan does.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
One of the nicest, most generous guys you'll ever meet.
Yeah, he's,
Unbelievably
Yeah,
generous.
wow. That's
Now,
quite
this isn't a pun, but he's never let us down.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, he's
he
always
puts
been
out
there
a
for
great
us.
meal in the morning. You know,
Eunice is his partner, and she's just as great.
So they really do it up, then they have like a breakfast?
Ab-
and-
absolutely.
They,
Wow.
they cater it.
Yeah.
Cater it, wow, is that something, yeah?
yeah, and everything was on him for years and years and years.
But they are very generous,
Wow.
not just to us, but to the
Yeah,
community.
never shows up, yeah.
Come down, have a sandwich, watch the bikes ride, and like Frank said, if you just ride solo and you want to come down and get your bike blessed, you're welcome to come down and get your bike blessed.
I think it's great that you made the distinction, I guess when you formed the group, that it wasn't a motorcycle club.
Right.
Because some people would look at that negatively. But I think today, you see more and more people don't look as down. They don't think everybody's, badass riding a bike to cause trouble. I don't think
We got-
most
we-
people don't see that anymore.
We got that at first,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know,
'cause I
and-
think,
but we don't have an MC on the back.
yeah,
You know,
Okay.
we got Rolling Thunder and
yeah.
the Rocker. They call it a Rocker.
Yeah.
You
But I
know.
think more and more people, as time has gone on, and that's why I mentioned that, because I think before, we're probably the two oldest people in the group, but, everybody would like, if a bunch of bikes came down the road, everybody go, oh, watch
Oh,
out,
yeah,
Hell's
yeah.
Angels,
Sure.
So I think that's a good thing, and I think you get more and more people interested, and in preparing for the show, I mentioned to a few people, I said, what does Rolling Thunder mean to you? And most people say, what are you talking about, But I had seen some of these events on TV, from Washington and all the bikes, and I said to myself, wow, that's something. So it always stuck in my mind about Rolling Thunder. But I'm hoping that this will introduce a lot of other people in our town to you folks and what you do. I think it's important. It's like I said before, it's really a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, well, I was going to ask you something. I just by me. Sorry, but the event that's coming up that's going to end up in Fall River. Is that going to be this Memorial Day? Is that
Yes.
what's going to happen? Yeah. It sounds like it's the same kind of thing. It's going to be kind of a friendly event, and people can go watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's the same thing as what I was saying. Again, in Frank's words, Cage is welcome. You know, it is a motorcycle type ride, but you know what? If people want to, follow us down in their cars and see what it's like, see what we do, because just the feeling of when you're driving down the street, whether you're in a car, a big wheel, a motorcycle, just seeing everybody out there with their American flags.
Yeah.
It makes your heart jump.
Sure does. Yeah.
But so it's welcome to everybody.
Yeah.
Absolutely welcome to everybody.
Yeah.
We encourage it.
Yeah.
We're really looking forward to it this year because the weather's supposed to be good. And the reason I know the weather's supposed to be good because last year the weather was so
Oh, it was
bad.
terrible.
It just can't get any worse. So the weather's going to be good.
We were spitting mouthfuls of water out that day.
Yeah. Wow.
And shivering.
It was bad.
It's cold, huh? What was it like? It was that last
Pouring.
Memorial Day.
Pouring cold the whole day.
Wow. So that means that even if it was raining, you guys would still ride your bikes out?
Did the soldiers go out in the rain?
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because I know whenever you go to a classic car show, if there's a little rain, those guys don't want to come up. We've in the past, I remember the Lions Club, we've done a couple of car shows back in the day, and I'll tell you, there was one day where it was just 30% possibility rain. They were like calling, saying, "Well, we don't know, But that's a whole different situation because they have these cars to perfection. They don't even want to get them wet and have the dust come up on them, But Frank, you had also mentioned this a little bit off, but I thought it was very interesting. You mentioned you had taken your dad, who fought in the Battle of the Bulge,
Yes.
to
Well,
the sites.
yeah, within the past 2.5 years, we took them back. There's another group in Boston that's veteran orientated too, and they went. His father had a private jet, and they took my dad back to Omaha Beach. He was first wave, and he fought all through
Wow.
Europe, right up to northwest part of France on the Belgium line to the Battle of the Bulge. So, and about approximately a year and a half later, we took 53 World War II vets from all over the country back to that. And that is awesome. That is, just to be around those old hardcore old timers, it was absolutely fantastic. Just to see,
Yeah.
their eyes and stuff like that. And they extended, the German soldiers extended, he said he wanted to come in. And first of all, the guys were kind of PO'd, said, no, we don't want to have nothing to do with them. But then a bunch of them said, you know what? He was doing his job for Germany, and we were doing our job for America.
Yeah.
So they made friends with the German. It was, it was something great to see,
Yeah. Some of those things are.
have a little forgiveness in your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes some of those things they're just so serene and quiet.
Yeah.
It
I mean,
does-
the old timers, they were, it was eight and a half hours on a plane into Paris, and then another eight and a half hours on a bus to get up to Belgium,
Wow.
and not a complaint,
Yeah.
just hardcore. They stopped at Normandy, they stopped in Luxembourg, but that's another place a lot of our boys are buried. And we got there just in time to 5 or 6 of the World War II vets took the flag down for the night.
Yeah.
Day is done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some time ago, I had an opportunity to go to Hawaii, and on the island of Oahu. And, you know, everybody goes to Arizona, we do too,
Excuse me.
and that's really, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But we also went to this place called the Punch Bowl, and it's a gigantic cemetery, and it's actually in a crater of an inactive volcano.
Yeah.
And it
And
looks
that
like
was
a punch
quite-
bowl.
Have you seen it? Yeah.
No, I've seen pictures.
Yeah, that was quite, but the thing with the Arizona was that, you know, just to see that oil coming up, still coming up,
Still see
Yeah.
after all these years, it's like, what?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
When the last drop comes up, that'll be the last, what is it, the last sailor that will live or something, is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
World War II.
last year, or the year before, a guy died. You know, I don't know if it was naval or army, but I was going to say naval because he requested to be with his shipmates, and they buried him
Wow.
in the Arizona.
Yeah, you have to have served on
Yes.
the Arizona
Correct. Yeah.
to be buried there.
Yeah.
And you have to have, they do require quite a lot of documentation
Yeah.
to make sure that, and
Yeah.
so that would be Navy.
Yeah.
I just want to say though, because, you know, Sean was also in the service.
Thank you for your service. And
Thank
what branch were you guys in?
Army.
Army, son. Very good, yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing with an organization, you know, you don't have a bike that can come in a cage. You don't have to be a veteran to be a member of our organization either.
Yeah, I think we're
Like-
pretty well mixed,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
So do you guys meet like on a regular basis where members come to a meeting? And that type
once
of
a
thing?
month, third
a month.
Wednesday of every month.
Yeah.
Second Wednesday of every month, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
It's
And,
open to the public.
Yeah, you might
We-
miss the next meeting, I'll get that right.
yeah, second Wednesday of every month, we meet at 7:30 at the Boston Police Post, the VFW, on
American Legion.
Morton Street or American Legion Highway. It kind of, you have Morton Street over here, and you have American Legion Highway here, and you have the VFW in the middle.
Yeah.
So it's 550, 555 Morton Street. 500 Morton Street, I'm sorry.
Did you guys drive bikes before you got into the organization, or did you do that once you got in?
I did.
Yeah,
I did. I think we actually have a mixed bag here of all riding bikes before, after, during.
yeah,
I didn't start riding a motorcycle until I joined I joined Rolling Thunder, and that's why I started riding,
Nice.
because I wanted to join Rolling Thunder.
yeah.
My brother was a member, told me all about DC, and it sounded so exciting I had to try it out.
Yeah.
So,
I started riding before.
yeah, so I got my 4 months with my motorcycle license. Got on a motorcycle and rode to DC.
Yeah.
Never really rode a bike before, and it was one of the most horrifying things I've ever done in my life.
Wow. How long a trip is that? When you-
It says 9 hours if you put it in the GPS, but on a bike it's probably about 10, maybe a little longer.
Yeah.
Because after an hour or so, your butt needs a break.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So, but we've gone down in rain, come back in rain. Yeah, but it was worth every single time.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I've never been to DC, but, you know, this place I wouldn't mind going to.
It's beautiful, it is something to see.
Even above and beyond what you guys have done, there's so much down there, you know. I don't know,
Ed, we've been going down there for years, well, not now, but all the years that we did go down, and I still didn't see everything,
Yeah.
you know.
Of course, you know.
I mean, we probably booked in for like 5, 6, 7 days and tried to go and see something different every day.
Yeah.
And we did that for years and years and still have not
Yeah.
completed the map, you know. It's just awesome.
Yeah. I had mentioned to Frank the other day at coffee that I had watched TV before I got there, and that the Shell was closing all their facilities in Russia. And you told
Yeah.
me about the Shell station. You said you saw them everywhere.
Oh, yeah, when I was in Europe, when we made them trips to all over Europe,
Yeah.
all over, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because I don't recall seeing a Shell station lately. I'm sure they're out there, but I just don't remember seeing one.
Yeah,
And there were a lot of them at one time.
yeah.
So I guess they were a major company throughout Europe then, not
Yes.
only Russia, but throughout Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Cool.
still go down to DC too, in November though.
Oh,
So it's more of a conference though. So the first weekend of every November, we presidents, vice presidents are required to go down to DC and for conferences for that weekend. I mean, general members are welcome also too, without a problem. But we go down there and talk about, just to show how much Rolling Thunder is not just a fly-by-night thing. We talk about finances, how we've been spending the money that we've been raising. So if people who come up to us and donate X amount of dollars, if they want to know where their money's going, I mean, I would, if I donated my money to a nonprofit organization, I would want to know where my hard-earned dollars going.
Yeah, that's true.
So we talk about stuff like that, like where our money has been going, and just so we can show and prove that to the Stoughton Godfather, we can say that your donation to Rolling Thunder helped this veteran who has Lyme disease, who can't work right now. We just paid for his groceries for a month, you know, and we talk about things like that. And down in DC, we also bounce ideas off of each other. We have guest speakers. We have 5-star generals that come down to talk to us. We have political members that come down to talk to us. And we are a political organization, but we don't pick a side.
Yeah.
Not Republican, not Democrat, conservative, liberal, it doesn't matter, as long as you believe in a cause. But we still go down to DC for certain reasons.
Just Americans, that's it.
Yeah, well, yeah, I actually, one of our members had said to me, and I'll never forget it, somebody had asked him, he said, Tom, what race are you? And he goes, human. I was like,
Very good, yeah.
I'm going to say that from now
That's a good
on.
answer.
We're a human race.
Yeah, yeah. Now, it's something like that, the organizations from all the different states would come to that?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So it's a weekend of talks, different rooms, different talks for certain things. We have liaisons throughout our nation. We have, each chapter has a president, vice president, secretary, chairman of the board, board of directors, e-board. Treasurer. Treasurer. We get together and talk about these things.
Yeah.
Where the money's going, how's it going. But yes, it is for all 88 chapters throughout the country.
So do you as a chapter, do you ever go to, say, another state to join in something that they're doing or vice versa?
Absolutely. Go. You mean to go to other Rolling Thunder chapters to be part of their
Yeah,
events?
that would just be
Oh.
in another state. for
Absolutely. Just like we're hoping to have another 11 chapters come up for our bike blessing in April.
example. Oh, okay.
We'll go down to, for instance, the end of July, we're going to Staten Island to support one of the New York chapters in their event. Next month, there's some people from our chapter going to an event in Vermont. So yeah, we go out through all other chapters. Just last week, I was in New Jersey for the national meeting. So yeah, we do spread out
Yeah.
and try to spread out.
One of the things that Brian didn't hit on either is with the donations that Rolling Thunder gets, it's basically 100% goes back to the veterans. Very, very little operating costs for Rolling Thunder. So you look at some of the big organizations, they're only kicking in, 90 cents on the dollar. We're kicking in almost that whole entire dollar each and every time.
Yeah, that's true. Whenever you do a hire, especially if you're hiring somebody to run a event so that you can make money for charities, they do get quite a bit of that money. And I've been in the Stone Lions Club for a while, so we've done fundraising in that manner too. But a lot of people get upset when they find out that 70% goes to the people running the show, and then 30% goes to your club to do with your charities. So yeah, that's always a big discrepancy. But on the other hand, it does allow clubs to get some money into their coffers so they can go out and do good stuff.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you're right. It's
That's another thing we do, Ed, is in Boston, we go into the homeless veterans shelter once or twice a year. Give them like a hot fudge Sunday day.
yeah,
Christmas time with hats, coats, gloves.
nice.
We have, try to get used coats or whatever,
Yeah.
Help them out.
One thing I
like
wanted
to
to ask
tell-
you. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Did you want to say something?
I like to tell people that if they say, oh, well, what do you get paid? I mean, we don't get paid in money, but I get paid by seeing the look on that veteran's face when we've helped them. Their gratitude, their just that they're so thankful and so grateful, and that's
Yeah.
my payment,
Yeah.
is to
true.
see their face.
It's true, yeah. Whenever you
You
do
know.
something good for a person that's in need,
Right.
You relieve the little
you really,
bit of the burden.
you say,
Right.
wow, that's great, you know? And it is, it is.
You know, that's the payment that we get.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It makes you feel good, you know. And I could bet everybody on this board here right now, if you went into a restaurant and there was a couple of soldiers over on, having breakfast or something like that, I'd bet 100% that every one of them has put money up and said, "There, give me their bill."
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
thank you for your service.
As long as they're not having lobster tails, Frank. I mean, my kids eat Elios.
Yeah, yeah, right, yeah.
So do you chow down on those Nathan hot dogs when you go up to New York? there?
I haven't had meat in a year, but I would try.
Oh. Oh, yeah, yeah. Mr. President tells us that he does a lot of scuba diving. I don't know, you do that for work too, but he comes up with a lot of lobsters, so, you know.
Well, something might be able to be worked out, Ed. You never
Yeah.
know. You know?
Is that a work thing, your scuba diving, or is that just a hobby type thing, or
Both.
both?
Both. I dive for recreation, and I own my own business,
Oh,
and I also teach scuba diving.
you do?
I'm actually, my next class I'm teaching is a veteran-only class.
Huh.
Yeah, it's an organization. Quickly, it's an organization called Operation Blue Pride.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a veteran or currently serving, and you can register for a class with them, and they'll teach you how to scuba dive for free.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm one of the instructors for Operation Blue Pride.
Yeah. How long have you been doing that?
Teaching diving, about 11 years.
Wow.
Diving, about 22.
Yeah. My
So-
brother-in-law used to do that when he was younger. You know, just mostly for, I guess, the lobsters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, can't say.
Yeah.
Not $12 a pound for lobsters and
Wow.
$23 a pound for scallops.
Mm.
So
Now you're hitting on my favorite, the scallops. Could be a way for the shock, I guess, if you're going out for those. But might be just of interest. I know Frank's living in Canton. You guys live, you're in Brockton, I guess, too?
Mhm.
I'm in Boston.
You're in the city.
Yep, I'm in Boston.
You're in the city too? Sean?
Devon. I live in Devon.
Down. So
Yeah.
we got a wide range of people here in different towns and
Yeah,
stuff
we,
like
we
that.
have members that live out in the middle of the state.
Oh, yeah.
We have members that live north of Boston. We have members that live south of Boston. We're pretty much all over.
Yeah. So like in Massachusetts, there's just one chapter then, right?
There's two
There are
chapters.
two.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
there-
why you had the number one after.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are they more like out west or something like that?
No, they're
South.
actually
So
south.
Oh.
We work closely with them now.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. Are you guys
So it's
close?
not a matter of who beats their chest more.
Yeah,
We're all
Yeah.
on the same page.
right.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
it's one organization.
Yeah.
But we do have, chapters throughout the country, and we have a chapter in Massachusetts as well. And they're also, so I guess back to Memorial Day a little bit, it's a collaborative effort for all of New England. It's called Rolling Thunder New England, this specific Memorial
Yeah.
Day, because of the 9 chapters that we have in New England, we're all helping out a little bit. So there's 2 chapters in Maine. Maine 1 has one job to do. Maine 2 has another job to do. Vermont has a job to do. 3 chapters in New Hampshire. Each chapter has a job. So when I talk about Memorial Day, I don't want to say that Mass 1 is doing all of it, because we're not.
Right.
It's a collaborative effort of all the chapters throughout New England throwing in a little bit to help out and make this all work.
So when you say different chapters have different jobs, what does that mean? I mean, it's
So we have a board.
Yeah.
We had met down in DC last November, and we talked about our Memorial Day demonstration. So there's like 1 or 2 members from each chapter, and we have meetings about every month. We're actually meeting this Saturday coming up. So, for instance, Mass 1 has a job. I'm just going to chime on how my job is doing, or I should say
Okay.
our job.
Yeah.
Mass 2 will chime in. This is their job. This is what they're in charge
What
of.
they're doing, yeah.
So there is a member from each chapter, and we all have a specific assignment. One person does quartermaster things, where they're in charge of merchandise. One chapter's in charge of Gold Star families, making sure the Gold Star families are helped out. They have chairs to sit in. They're escorted. They're taken care of. So on and so forth to make the whole day work.
I would like to say, in case people don't know what a Gold Star family is, we have Gold Star mothers, sisters, brothers, fathers, families, aunts, uncles. That's when their loved one has died. They were killed in action. So they become, for instance, a mother sends her son off to war, or her daughter, and they're killed during that war. So now they have now become a Gold Star mother, or that whole family becomes a Gold Star family, and we actually hold them in. They're right up there with the veterans and the KIAs. You know, we hold them in the greatest the greatest esteem, because they've given everything. They gave everything.
Did any of you guys see this movie? I can't remember the name of it. It was, I think, Kevin Bacon, and it shows bodies coming into
Dover.
I've seen it. I can't remember
yeah,
the name of it.
in
He escorts
in
a.
Virginia or whatever. There's a place there where a lot of them come in.
Dover, yeah.
Dover,
Yeah.
Dover
Was that
Air
Dover?
Force
I'm sorry,
Base,
yeah. And it was interesting because he met the body when it came in, and he was his mission was to take that body directly, and I think it was maybe to Oregon, where the family was, and he would stay with the coffin for the entire day. There was never a minute where it was alone, or the person was alone. And I guess it was a real thing. I guess this actually does happen. I don't know just how extensive it is, but it was fascinating to see. You know, and a lot of the movie he was just like either sitting by the coffin or at attention. But it was a good movie, wasn't it?
Yes, it was excellent.
And it shows him meeting the family. Again, I think it was on the West Coast somewhere. I think maybe it could have been Oregon, perhaps. And the interaction with the family and all this other stuff was pretty cool. I just don't remember the name of the movie, but
That is something that they do.
yeah, yeah.
They
I had, up until that point, I had never even heard of that.
and then
Yeah.
usually at the funeral, they never leave the coffin alone. There's
That
always
was the whole
there's
storyline.
always
Yeah.
a guard.
That was the whole storyline. Yeah.
Yeah, there's somebody that'll always stand guard, so they're never alone from the time they
Never
leave the
alone,
war
right.
zone to the time they get home.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was.
I believe also too, it's I don't know if it's the person that stands guard. I might be wrong in my verbiage here, but I believe it's the casualty assistance officer for each branch. So when that soldier came home from Korea after his remains were identified, Rolling Thunder was in touch with the casualty assistance officer for the Army, and that's who we worked with. It was like our liaison through the family. So whatever the family wants, he related to us as far as what to do, how to do it. So
Yeah.
that's the job that I would not want.
Yeah, I know.
I'm the
It's
casualty assistance officer.
I believe sometimes the service member can request in the event that they pass away, they can request who they want to escort them home.
yeah, yeah. As I recall, I think Kevin Bacon was like in the Marines dress blues, I guess they call it. But so it was pretty interesting. There was one other thing I forgot to ask you earlier.
Sure.
I had seen somewhere that some of the Rolling Thunder's international. I don't know if that's so.
No.
It didn't seem.
Can it be? Yeah, it can be. Because we have members at large. And what a member is at large is if you have a person that wants to be a member of Rolling Thunder, but they don't have a chapter within, I believe it's 45 miles of them, they can become a member at large.
Oh.
Which means that they're actually a member of National, the headquarters. They pay their dues per year, but they can technically be outside of of the boundaries.
Yeah,
It just have to be a member at large.
yeah.
So for instance, a service member could become, you know, they could be stationed over in Korea, and they can become a member through national.
So,
Each
I'm sorry.
each chapter has their own patch. It's called the boot patch.
Can you hold that up? Maybe the camera could catch that.
Yeah.
Or if you want to stand up, you can.
Sure.
That'd be interesting for them to see.
So the boot patch, each chapter has a boot patch. So the one at large would have
Member at large.
member at large on their patch.
As
I
opposed
see
to
you
the
have
state.
the, like, the POW flag also on your vest. That's
The
very-
POW flag.
Yeah, I noticed that when you lifted it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you lost your microphone.
Yeah, that's part of the boot patch. And then each state has its own patch, for lack of a better word, to represent the state. I don't have the new one, but
That's right. This
so
is,
that's the new one.
that's
that
our
we
state
have,
patch.
Oh, yeah.
That shows that's the state that we're from.
Yeah.
So and then each state
And-
has each chapter has their own state patch too. It's
Okay.
not-
But
so-
this is the old one. Is
Right.
this one here. So it kind of, as you're walking towards somebody, you can kind of tell what state they're
Or
from.
and chapter.
Or what, and
Yeah.
what chapter.
Now, how long have you guys, well, I know you, as individuals, maybe start with Debbie, how long have you actually been a member?
I'll be a member 16 years this
Wow.
July.
16?
I am going on 10 next month.
I'm about 6 years.
Great.
You know, 10, 11,
Yeah.
somewhere around there.
Some dedication here. We're winding down, just some seconds left. So I really want to thank you guys for coming out and sharing all this information with our viewers. And I hope it helps you too to get a little more recognition that you exist and what you do and so forth. And that's it. Thanks
Well,
for
we want to thank
coming.
you for having
and,
us.
Yes,
Thank you.
Good night to all. Thank you.
Thank you.
What do you think?
And we're-
Awesome,
Maria?
man.
That was
Awesome.
Piece of
good.
cake.
Yeah, that was easy.
Yeah, awesome.
Bring on more.
Leave the gun. Take the cannolis.